And if you will hit your mic and make sure it's green.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, 4:07, so I believe we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. The first order of business will be public comments. Not seeing anybody available for that. We'll go to any announcements anybody might have.
I've got a couple things just real quick. First, I know we've got a couple more staff members coming, but I've asked them to come, and I know it's good to hear from them. And once they get busy, it's going to be really helpful for them to be here. So thank you all for being here to give a little update to the board. I got a few quick things. First of all, we just had the pre-bid meeting for the cart path repair. We just finished that about an hour ago. We had several companies show up to put bids in. They have to have the bids in this Friday by 5 o'clock. So by next week, we'll know kind of where that stands. So it was good to see that many companies show up for that project. Six of us, since the last meeting we went to Orlando to the PGA show. Just wanted to, nothing specific really I wanted to say other than technology is definitely the way the golf business is going right now. I would say it was one of the biggest shows they've ever had, both from exhibitors and from attendees. And I would say 40% of that entire show was all technology. It was people wearing goggles and I don't know what was going on half the time, but that's definitely the direction that golf is going. So we did see some really good products. Some of the golf pros saw some merchandise that they're bringing into their shops. We got a lot of ideas, so it was a very, very beneficial and good trip. So very happy that we were able to do that. And then the next week, Ron went down to Phoenix to the superintendent's conference, and I'm sure he's going to talk about that here in a minute. So I'll save it up for him. The update on the mechanic position, we have submitted all that. Fine, we had to wait for the city to close out last year before we could really do anything. So that's in the works. It's sitting at the city manager's office right now for approval, and then we'll get that posted. So hopefully we can get that done as quick as possible with the process we have to go through.
On that particular item, can we can initiate that at the first of the season rather than have to wait to go through this budgetary?
The standard procedure is that it's called a programming option that they review in April, which they put realistically probably June hiring this person. I've submitted that with us being enterprise and showing the need and the savings for it right now. I've put in a request to get that pushed through immediately. So we still have to post the job and go through the hiring process, but yeah, we won't have to wait until April to start that.
In terms of employees, I did notice a post came out that they're looking for 3. Now we're assistants in training.
It's greenskeeper, assisting and training, on the superintendent side. So we've got, we had someone that just retired this week from MAC. We have an opening at Tex. We had someone leave from Auburn. What am I missing? And then someone leave from Sim. So they're really all 4, but at Tex.
That showed 3.
Yeah, Tex is it's gonna be a little different. And we've got another situation there, so it's not technically gonna be open, but.
Oh, got a person to move into it.
Yeah. So we're trying to get those filled. Obviously, they're gonna need as much help as possible on the golf courses. So working on that now. And that's a 2-week post. So hopefully we'll have some candidates, and it's not as long of a process for that position as a full-time salary position. So it'll be a little bit quicker maybe.
The other question in reference to that, I know they were submitting some range changes in compensation. Is that included in that posting, or is that something that we might look forward to after the hiring?
That's something we're looking forward to. I was trying to get that done but it was going to take so long. It was going to delay the position. Right now, we just wanted to get people in that position, and we're still working on trying to get the races in place. Couple of events coming up on March 16th. We have the Shamrock Scramble at Auburn. 5 weeks out, that tournament was full with 15 teams on a waiting list. So, and it's increased since then. So talking to Scott, what I think I would like to do is have a Saturday tournament, open up a Sunday tournament. 2 separate tournaments, but the same concept. So you have a Saturday field, a Sunday field, and then the next weekend, I want to invite the winner from each day to come out and play against each other, film it, turn it into a big kind of just a big thing that we can put on social media and kind of make it fun, and have kind of the overall championship the next weekend. We definitely have, I think we could fill that second day up probably in 2 days.
I apologize. I haven't seen a poster on that. Is that a 4-man or a 5-man?
4.
Okay,
Four.
utilize the cards as best possible.
I won't do an even or odd number tournament, 3 or 5. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a 4-person tournament. And like I said, we've got 55 teams right now trying to sign up. So I think what we're going to do is try to do 36 Saturday, 36 Sunday. We can still get the course open in each afternoon, and fill it up. But it'd be obviously a great revenue, but we can, all these people that are trying to get in, I mean, they didn't expect it to be full 5 weeks before. So, I'm getting email. I got 2 more emails today. I think if we've already made the video, I wanted to bring that up in here and see if anybody had a problem with it. I don't know if that doesn't necessarily need to go through you guys, but I kind of like that idea.
Can we facilitate that with cards?
Yeah, it's 2 different days. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you got 36 teams.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll get there. Yeah.
Hey,
so I
Jesse,
think that's
this is Marcia.
what-
Just curious, can you tell by looking if any of those teams are women's teams?
I can go through and see everyone's name. I don't have it in front of me right now. I've literally just looked at the total number of teams. I haven't dove in and looked at the participants yet. I can let you
Understand.
know.
Yeah, do let me know. I'd like to know. I'm kind of feel out some of the women's as the season starts. I have a feeling with these tournaments like those, that they probably feel like those aren't for them. And so
Okay.
maybe if we can figure out a way to kind of make it so that there's some inclusion there, I would appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah. When we do the announcement, I'll be sure and stress it's open to everyone. Yeah, I can do that. And I'll let
Okay.
you know the number.
That'd be great. Thanks.
Yep. Okay. On that topic, the new tournaments, we've kind of, the plan was to get everything in order to push for more events this year. And I can promise you it's working. I have been in meeting after meeting after meeting for brand new tournaments that they've reached out to us. We haven't even really started to advertise yet. And they're calling us. MAC has added several tournaments. I know Texas got some, Auburn's added some, Sim's working on some. I mean, they're coming in like crazy, which is awesome. I messed up and told these guys, if you have somebody kind of on the fence, get me involved. And now that's all of them. So kind of regret that, but no, it's they're filling up extremely fast. It's awesome, brand new revenue for us. 2 final quick things. We have Junior Golf Day is coming up on April 13th. It's going to be at Tex, beyond the driving range from 1 to 5. We've got kids coming from all different avenues. We've got First Tee's going to be there. Wichita Junior Golf Foundation, it's their 50th anniversary, so we're going to make a big deal out of that. It's pretty impressive. We've got, I'm working on getting US kids and Wichita State Golf, or what is it called? Wichita State Golf Association. And some companies and different things. Just we're gonna have some contests and just really celebrate junior golf. So expect a big day. I'd love to have you guys out. If you have any ideas on how we can add to that, I'm definitely open. But it should be, if you went to the deal last year, we had at Auburn, same type of deal, just a giant party to celebrate kids out there. So again, that's April 13th.
You want there, or have you reached out to any of the high school golf coaches?
Yeah, we've got coaches that are coaches from college coaches and high school coaches that are coming, and they'll kind of talk to the kids about what it takes to play golf and give them some tips if that's something they're interested in, just to kind of set them on that path. So I think it'll be really good. I think kids will have a great time. Of course, we'll have music and games and all kinds of stuff.
That's at Auburn.
That's at Tex. Yep. And then the last thing, and I don't know how to go about this, no obligation at all. We are going to have we didn't have a Christmas party as a staff, so we're going to have kind of a season kickoff party at Abuelo's on March 9th. I'm not allowed to pay for that with any city money, so I'm coming out of my pocket for that. If you guys have any ideas, want to help with that, I would be all right with that. No obligation. I just want to bring that up. These guys deserve it, so we're going to have a good time.
Jesse, you said March 8th in the email.
It's Friday, March
8th?
It's Friday, March 8th.
I think so.
Okay, March 8th. I'm sorry.
I mean, I just want to make sure because I had.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, anyway, March 8th, we're gonna get together, kind of have a good time before we go into absolute grind mode. So, you can ask Steve today. I think you had 200 rounds on a very, what is it? You probably had a frost delay. So from 9 to 3 o'clock, ran 200 people through that place.
Not quite, but yeah, it was.
I think you had 191 booked when I looked or something like that. Is that not right?
Yeah, well, we didn't end up with, we had some no-shows. Group that only showed up with 2 or 3.
So, anyway, that's all I got, as far as announcements. If anybody else has anything. Oh, no, that's not all I got. 2 more things. I want to thank Randy and Robert for the work. Randy came out to Auburn and kind of did some kind of magic on the countertops. A pot, whatever you call that. They look awesome. He did the Pro Shop counter and the F&B counter. They look really, really good. And then Robert, again, I know I said it last meeting, but thank you and your guys that's been coming out and helping with Mac with the ponds. I'm getting feedback left and right about that. So both of you, appreciate what you're doing.
You're right about the 6th hole. It's harder now.
Harder.
Jesse bogeyed it the other day.
That's very hard.
Double.
It's hard.
To be fair, I hit it left over the fence. I had nothing to do with you, so.
Okay.
Afraid of your slope.
All right, that's all I got.
All right, moving to approval of minutes. I apologize. I did run the August meeting minutes off and got to read those, but unfortunately I hit the wrong button on the computer. I didn't get anything for September, but I would move that we accept the minutes.
I'll second that.
The last 2, I guess that would have been August and September of last year.
Yes. I second that.
Got a second? We have, I'll second it. All right. All in approval, say aye. Aye. No nays. That's.
If I could, if we can kind of skip around, I know Seth has to leave pretty quick and
Okay.
he's here to give an update. So if we can have him, if you want to come up, and I know he's got to be out of here in about 10 minutes, so.
Okay, updates for text and solver maintenance. Some of the projects we're gonna be working on this year. We're gonna try to finish the pond project on 7, putting rock around it. We're a little over halfway done. So we're just gonna try to find enough rocks to finish that up. Got the car path project that we're gonna be doing on 1 and 9. We're working on replacing well and the pumps, the motor for the well and the pumps for the well on hole 5. And then, the last thing, if we have time, I'm hoping we can do some work on 7T and convert those from, I think right now there's 4 individual Ts up top, and I'd like to leave the blue T where it's at and then combine the other 3 and convert them to Zoysia, sod them into Zoysia. So if anybody has any issues with that,
What hole did you say?
hole 7. He's always have trouble growing grass up there. So try out some Zoysia and see how it fares, and yeah, combine them. So we'll have more T surface area as well. Take all these stairs, meaning go ahead and do it, Seth.
I got a question. Have you found any Zoysia?
Yes, I've got Salina Country Club. Has saved me some Zoysia from their Zoysia nursery.
Okay,
So,
pretty hard to come by.
right. And that was the first step. And they, I think Teradyne borrowed or bought a bunch from them 3 or 4 years ago. So already got the amount that I need to get, and he's got it saved for me. So we've got some sod whenever we're ready to do it.
What do they charge in the yard for this?
It's I can't remember the yard price for a roll. It was $150 and I was gonna need, now it was gonna be just under, what was it, 2,500 for all the sod,
Okay, so they're cutting in big rolls.
big rolls. Gonna need like 18 rolls. Hardest part, once we do the dirt work's gonna be, you know, a step and moving some irrigation, possibly. But getting the sod from there to us is gonna take quite a few.
Laser level or just use?
No, we'll level it with,
You got one?
Yeah.
Say you do it. I know where you can roll.
yeah. That's all I've got. Anybody have anything for me?
Nobody else has anything to say. I know he's got to go, so I think as far as the board is concerned, all the superintendents, Seth included, have done a marvelous job for us. So I think they all deserve kind of a round of applause or something for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, continuation of prior business, and first appears to be the board seat of the fan member.
So I know last time we obviously talked about, we have an open seat and looking for any suggestions for possible replacements. We had one on the table and I can get the information, package that up. I send it to council for approval. But before I did that with that individual, I wanted to see if anyone else had anybody in mind that you could think of or wanted to recommend.
I mean, we can look around. I know the last one that Scott brought up was the person that was in the hospitality industry, whether we want to stick to that little pigeonhole or whether that would, you want to be a little bit more
Well, that
wide in your.
that particular position is food and beverage and retail specialist. That's kind of the,
All right, well, I'm just curious.
yeah. So we have one, we have one rep from each course and then we have finance, agronomy, and then the food and beverage and retail. That's the seat that's open.
Having no expertise in that, I doubt how you guys are gonna do it. So,
So if we're good with that, I can package that and get that sent up to council for approval and it'd be the same way that I had to do for each of you. So,
do you need to vote on that name?
Nope.
Okay.
okay.
We're not allowed to. No, I mean, that's like, council appoints, the board and everything, so yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
In that case, I would say we continue with that particular procedure.
Sounds good.
The next is our CIP request discussion.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Okay, as a division, we had our first meeting on Friday, just kind of going over all the requests that are gonna be put in through Park and Rec, which we fall under. With our irrigation request, I know there's been several meetings with council members and a lot of discussion on how to get this, how to position ourselves as strong as possible to get this approved. Last year, we had submitted 2 million a year, for the next 5 years. That went nowhere. And a lot of the discussions I've had, they want to see some kind of effort on our part to meet them on how to pay for this. So what I've come up with, and we can talk about it here, is to, and with recommendation from staff within our division, was to request 1.5 million every other year for the next, I guess it'd be 8 years, to do all 4 courses. Anything above that 1.5 million, we would have to figure out how to pay for it, as a division. I think at most, I think Auburn is definitely going to be the most expensive. It would be the last one done. I'm assuming if we did it today, we'd be looking at $2.5 million probably just at Auburn. So I think worst case scenario, we would have to cover that one. That would be $1 million and maybe a little more. At Sim is going to be, we've got it around 1.5 million. Even Tech's Tex is more, it's confined, a lot of back and forth, not as big of a space. I don't think it would be it's a bigger area, but I don't think it would be too far above that. Mac is going to be a little bit more complicated, and then Auburn just goes straight out and straight back. It's going to be the biggest monster probably to tackle, but I've put together what I think is a pretty good justification and what we're looking for, covered kind of the water cost savings, the efficiency of the water to provide better conditions and service to the customers. Utility bills are going to go down. And then looking at the golf courses as what they are, obviously we had 188,000 rounds. Looking at that today, we found, not counting people that just go to the range because we don't put their names in, we had 51,000 unique people play our golf courses last year. And talking with council, I've been asked that number. So it's at least 51,000 plus the people that just use our ranges that just pop out and come in. So it's a lot of people. When you look at some of the other CIP requests that are getting funded, it doesn't affect near as many people as what we do at our golf courses. So I think we need to really push that. Not to mention all of the tournaments. We have a lot of, whether it's high school tournaments, fundraisers, whatever, a lot of people come into town and they're getting hotel rooms, they're spending money at restaurants, or the tourism part brings money to the city. So I think from various discussions, I think that was the thing, that those are the things that they really wanted to see, like not how many rounds, but how many people do you have? Trying to dig into that over the last few days and get those numbers, but I don't know. I'll open this up to you guys. What do you feel about trying to approach it that way with the 1.5 million every other year? And we would cover anything above and beyond.
I think that'd be a good way to approach it. I know when we tried to do it last year, we never really got our voice through the city council. Somehow it just never got there. I mean, I talked to several of the council members and they didn't know anything about our request, what we did. So I talked to one of the council members the other day, and they indicated that the best way for us to get our voice heard is to have someone come and speak in front of the council. He said you get like 5 minutes or something. You have to sign up 2 weeks in advance, and there's some hoops to jump through to do that. But he said that's the best way to get our voice heard, is to have someone directly come and speak to them.
Yeah, it's very easy. You just call the manager's office or the council office and get on public comment 2 weeks in advance. So yeah, I think I can't do it. Obviously, I think that would be great. If one of you wanted to volunteer to be that person, I think that would definitely be a good step.
I know what they chose Marcia to be that liaison.
Well, she's in California.
Sorry.
Yeah.
When you have to make the presentation.
At a council meeting, which
I'll say what's the date. Immediately, or
they have meetings every week.
Yeah, every Tuesday other than the fifth
Okay.
Tuesday of the month, but
of the discussion regarding CIP.
Oh, we need to do it quick. Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
That's like last year. They were talking and discussing it through June.
Yeah.
And in July, they started to nail it down a little further. And then in
Yeah.
August, I think they had locked down.
Right.
This is what we're gonna do.
We did make a presentation last year, and Marcia and myself went down and did do a CIP presentation when they were doing public interviews regarding that. So
Well, I definitely think the quicker the better. That way that may spark some conversation with council people to reach out individually. Anything we can do to whatever, that may snowball into more. So I'd rather do it sooner than later.
yeah, well, I do believe we can. I mean, I've done it before. Anybody could.
You want to do it again?
Can. They probably don't like me nowadays, but I've met with several of them, so.
I wonder if it would be worth it to take the time to actually put a little PowerPoint presentation together to explain some of the things that Jesse's talking about, water conservation, saving money on utility bills and so forth, and how you can specify where the water goes to really help your courses in the areas that it's needed. And maybe just to kind of paint a clearer picture. I don't know if that's helpful or not, but I know when I used to work, we used to do PowerPoint presentations for a lot of different things.
Yeah.
To really spell it out exactly.
Can you do a public comment? Can you do a
I
presentation?
don't think that they display it, but I believe you can submit materials effectively like
In
that.
regards to that, our
Yeah,
presentation that we made last year,
And usually that's what the
Right, right.
presentation are.
5 minutes. I mean, they got the timer on you. In my presentation, I cut it short and it wound up exactly 5 minutes, fortunately. Marcia was hitting me. But 5 minutes goes pretty quickly. I mean, so you gotta be pretty concise and fast.
But I would agree though, that if we do send somebody, and I'm sorry, I'm not there to do it because I would really be glad to do it. I think we also do need to have some sort of written materials because we're going to throw some numbers at them. It's a 5-minute thing. They need to have some materials to look at, you know, after the fact as well. And I mean, I don't know if Jesse can put that together for us or if I can help put that together for whoever's going. I'm happy to help and support that however I can.
Yeah, I'm glad to put together whatever you guys think should be in there. When are you coming back to Wichita?
I'll be home April 1st.
April 1st.
Oh, April 1st. Okay.
You're gonna fool us that day, huh?
Yeah, maybe I'll be home April 1st.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that jumps out at me,
You hit your button. Yeah.
I don't know how hammered down you got that already, but thinking about 2.5 million, 8 years from now could be,
Right.
and obviously 1.5 is better than 0, getting good towards that, but I don't know how they would reassess that.
I think each year you can look at,
You can make adjustments to
Yeah.
the CIP each new budgetary season.
like, we just had that meeting last week and we looked at all the current CIP that have been approved and then new that we're adding and see if there are any adjustments that need to be made. So.
So just so I'm clear on this, if we're talking every other year, does that mean the first one would be done in 25 if they agree to this?
It would, yeah, the money. Make sure what I put here, make sure I'm. So I put it to be approved this year, so we could, I mean, it's gonna take a while to get the design and all that, but the money would be approved for this year. And then
Okay.
the next batch would be in 26. Now,
Okay,
if that was approved this year, then the delay would be getting the companies to design it and schedule the work and all that, so.
got it. Thank you.
Probably looking before this fall would be my guess. We're gonna have to patch and
Yeah, we're not gonna get it before this season is over, that's for sure.
And at the national conference, talking with people, one of the big companies, Landscapes Unlimited, and some of the architects, there's a lot of work going on in golf courses that hasn't been done, and companies are busy. So they're kind of at a premium, and that's actually, they're seeing some costs going up just because, I don't mean, it's like anything, when it's favoring people doing the work, the cost goes up a little bit, so. But that's more like, full rebuilds and stuff, not just going into an irrigation system, so. But that'd be something to consider, hopefully. And then too, I know there's no golf course that's getting ready to put in a new irrigation system, and they had to switch from one brand of irrigation equipment to another because of supply issues. They couldn't, what they were spec to use, they couldn't get, so they basically had to switch from Toro to Rainbird to be able to get the equipment to do the work when they need to do it, so.
in regards to that, are basically all of them going HD or still putting in some PVC?
Most of it's HDP, yep. Yeah, there were a lot of companies there with booths that's got, like, if you need to add on something later, saddles, stuff to add later, and they say the cost is, one guy said, if it's spec'd, the cost isn't gonna be any higher with HDP pipe. It's gonna last longer, and less issues.
Well, I think we
Suppose-
cross those bridges when we find out how to pay for it. So right now, let's,
Yeah. I think you really need to paint the picture that these systems are 30-some years old and they've been neglected for X amount of years. It should have been done a long time ago, but it's not. So you got to deal with what you have today. And you have, I don't know how many $1 million you have invested in these 4 golf courses, but you have a lot of money invested already.
Mhm.
You don't want to just forget about your investment. You want to take care of your investment and make it grow. I mean, a lot of it's just common sense, but I think we need to spell it out that, you know, these have been neglected for a long time and it's time to do something.
the USDA, they say the average life of a irrigation system is 15 to 30 years, and our youngest system is 26 years old. So our newest system is at the end of a system's life. Our oldest system is 38 years old, and it works like a 38-year-old irrigation system.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Kind of why I think if you put a presentation or a little something together where you kind of paint the picture, you can spell it out that, you know, this is something that happened overnight and now we need some money.
That's basically how we presented it the last time. So it would just be, but they need to be reminded. I mean, obviously, they're not in the golf business. That's why they have us.
Council member since then.
Yeah. You have a new mayor
Yeah.
and Glasscock, he has 2 golf courses in his district.
Right. And we
I'm
have
sure he
had
would
some
probably
meetings.
have some interest.
We've had some meetings. Yeah, with this.
He seemed receptive at all or
Was willing to work with us. That was our takeaway from the meeting. He was willing to work, but he did obviously balk at $2 million. So
The biggest thing that I've taken away from discussions I have is since you are an enterprise fund, we need to see that, like, we don't feel like we should just fit the bill for all of it. Like, we need to see that you're trying on your end. And I think, you know, if that's why I say anything over 1.5 million, we can cover. And then the other option, I think, if they wanted, we could try to figure out some type of repayment deal on the back end that just our business is so, you never know. You never know what's gonna happen with the weather. I mean, you know what I mean? So, I think we could start here and see how those discussions go and then go from there.
Is the 1.5 million for every other year, is that already a done deal? Or is it just what they?
No, that's what we're asking for.
We still gotta wrestle them to the ground to get that.
Oh, yeah.
You have to-
And then keep fighting when we're on the ground, probably.
This is clearly an area that I know zero about. So my immediate question is it likely that we will end up with interest shown by local vendors, and will this end up going to a local business, or is this something that's beyond that scope?
Very unlikely it would be a local vendor. There's probably one vendor in town that does that kind of work, and they basically no longer do irrigation work, so.
Okay, thank you. Just curious if that was a point to be made as well.
SSI doesn't do anything with large.
It would be beyond the scope of someone like that.
And I just wanted to offer, kind of based on this discussion, I think what we did last year is an option of, there was kind of a subcommittee process where I think the group then reported back to the board about what to present to different council members. And council, we can do something like that again, but the liaison position sort of set up, I think it would just be more, we could just have a couple people sort of just report back to the board next meeting or something, if you all want to try to do that. But since we also have some history of doing it too, we could also maybe just authorize a couple people to talk to council, either at a council meeting or individually, beyond everybody talking to their council members too. But if we wanted to have someone authorized by the board basically to talk to council and council members, then we can take a vote to kind of just set someone on their way to be able to do that like we did last year. Either a subcommittee, but it seems like we might want to move a bit quicker. So I just wanted to offer that other option of just designate some people basically like we did with the liaison position.
I reckon. Might take it up again, been there before.
I'd be happy to meet with the council again. I mean, it's, like I said, I already know several. Be candid, we've had real positive conversations. I'm not casting any dispersions towards any of our council persons. They are all willing to help, I think, but it's all based on how they can spend their revenues best. I mean, the tax base is what they're responsible for, and that's what they worry about. And obviously, we've got a little portion of that we would like to get. From there, I'll be happy. Marshall gets back. I know she's very happy to help us. So I'll be happy to do it if you'd like to have it done. So
I can help you get on the agenda.
yeah, thanks.
Yeah, we can do that.
Maybe we can all help throw some bullet points together. Some of the data that Jesse was bringing, saying there's, 51,000 golfers that come golf at the golf courses comparative to, a pickleball or something else that may have, 2,000, 3,000. I don't know what they have, but 51,000 people is a lot of people.
I've had that question asked by one of the council members. And he obviously, when you quote, we had 188,000 rounds that were played. And he's a player, so he asked what the repetitive number was, which is a legitimate question.
Yeah.
I mean, but you had 51,000, you think you had 50,000 walk-in rounds. We know we had 95,000 or so full green speeds paid. And so.
Well, we ran 38 different reports trying to figure that out today, and we finally found it. And that was basically anyone that had their name in the system that had a transaction.
Yeah.
So if they played a green fee, their name would be in the system. Now, if they came and bought range balls, they would not. But that's just people that some reason put their name in the system and had a transaction.
Yeah.
Does it include all the tournaments we put on if they're just playing on a tournament team and they've never?
That's true.
There's a lot of people that play the courses that aren't in the system.
Those are just done in a bulk number. So, yeah. I mean,
All the high
it's obviously there. I mean, I think we have more players in the baseball and the basketball and softball, all the leagues and stuff. So
I was at Auburn on Saturday. When I woke up Saturday, it was 19 or 20 degrees. So I thought wouldn't be that busy. I had to circle the parking lot twice and wait for someone to pull up. There honestly was not one parking spot in that parking lot. Now it got nice in the afternoon, but middle of February and we're capacity on Saturday.
And the extended outlook looks really, really good for golf.
Yeah.
I looked down at the rest of this month and next month.
Yeah.
And it looks really good.
you're going to wind up having a great February, looking at the forecast for the next week or 10 days.
I'm excited for that part of the meeting coming up in a minute.
All right, for the purpose of clarification, to move on, then I will try to work with Jesse and get a time frame set up where we can get it on the council sometime prior to April.
And I can put together the PowerPoint, send it out, and then you guys can individually reply to me with any changes. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think that would be the best approach, just to avoid a meeting sort of thing. I also think just kind of based on how we did it before, it'd be best if someone could, and you can just say like, so moved after I say this, but move to authorize Mike to speak with city council as liaison for the CIP discussion, just to kind of keep it clear from our prior thing. And I think that's kind of what we were saying before potentially, but just as someone could move and second and vote, it kind of gives us authority to then speak at council.
Yeah, I move that Mike then be our representative from the golf governors, the council for the CIP discussions. Whatever the next meeting is being held.
I second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
When Marcia gets back in town, guess
Yes.
what?
And I'm trying to keep it temporary, yeah.
Okay, moving on, we next have corporate memberships, which we were gonna look at from the last meeting.
Okay, so.
Share it so she can see it.
Mark, you can see that, right?
Yes, I am seeing that.
Okay. Okay, corporate membership options, I put together 3 different scenarios. We can do this a million different ways, but. Okay, well, let me grab my. So I can kind of go over what I was thinking on Friday. Okay, again, I think the benefit to this would be, could be really good, just to partner with some of these corporations and kind of make the courses their home courses. There's a lot of benefits to that, I believe. So one option, that I put together is just one lump sum for, there would be 4 designees from the corporation that would have memberships. Anyone they bring would have a discounted rate, as far as guests. Rental fee of, the conference space would be waived if they wanted to have a meeting in Auburn, we'd waive the little fee for the room. They can use rental clubs, and then a special rate for corporate events. So if they wanted to have a tournament, we could give them a little break for being members, and we could work that out. So the way I was kind of drawing that number one up, I should have put this on the slide, but I didn't. So the four memberships would be $5,664. So what I was thinking on that, we could do that for $5,000. And that would include their 4 memberships. The discount for their guests would be 15%. And that was pretty straightforward. That comes out to $104 per member instead of $118 per member. They would get, they would be bringing people hopefully with them when they play. Option 2, then we can talk about it. Option 2 is one lump sum for 2 memberships. And then either they choose either 10 guest passes that they use all year or 20 guest passes they use all year. That would include card, kind of the same deal, corporate event, special rate, discount rate for anyone over the 10 or 20 rounds that they bring, and then everything else. With that membership option, the normal rate would be $2,832. I was thinking do that for $2,750. And then if they wanted 10 rounds passes, that would be $35 per round. So that would come out to $3,100 total. Or if they wanted to go with the 20 round option, I would do that one for $3,250 per round, and that they would pay $3,400. And again, $3,400 would be 20 guest rounds and the lump sum for their 2 memberships. And then the final option I came up with is just a straight prepay for a number of rounds. So that I was looking at. I need to redo the pricing on that, but you could do 40 rounds. That would include the cart, 60 rounds, 100. You could do it however you wanted, but I just put those numbers out as an example. And then the same thing the other way. So just wanted to kind of present 3 options. If you guys have other ideas, I'm definitely open to that, but see what you thought about one of these options for a corporate membership. I have had I've had a handful reach out. They asked if we did any type of corporate membership, and I told them I'm working on it. I'll get back to them. So,
It's like, are you talking most of them looking for like 4 people? Guests, or it varies?
they didn't. Yeah, we didn't really get into that. They just asked if they had if we had any type of corporate membership set up. So
They still have that at Terre, huh?
Yeah, not very many. There's a couple.
they're all waiting on me to phone, but
Would you put option 1 back up, please?
We're gonna mark this voice up. So we can hear it.
I'll take that second. Marcia, we didn't hear what you said.
Oh, I asked if you would put option 1 back up.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I kind of figured out these prices late this afternoon, so I did not have a chance to add them to the slide.
A special rate for corporate events, would that be similar to the discount, like 15% or something like that? Or
Probably, that one's hard to just say because it depends on what type of event they're wanting to have. So yeah, I think we would kind of negotiate that, probably a 10 or 15% discount on it.
yeah. And the leading towards number 1, but
I said that you thought $5,000 for the 4 designees.
Basically, we would set it up so when they have a guest, it gets 15% off or whatever we decide at 15 individual. Staff, if you guys have an opinion, please.
I'm looking at it like more about
A hybrid of
Yeah.
1 and 2, somewhere in there might work. Because there's, more than likely, there's gonna be 4 to 8 people that use it regularly that are the members.
Mhm.
But guest passes would definitely intrigue them.
Agree. So if we did four designees and then offered the 10 or 20 passes with that, I can draw it and send it out as an example.
Because I mean, obviously, they're gonna love the rate, like the special rate for the events and the meetings and stuff, but their guests, and even just from like a revenue and cash flow standpoint, the lump sum for the memberships.
Have you thought about having it's set up to where anyone that works for that company can join for a certain rate that's lower than normal, but they have to meet a certain number of people to get that, so that they can do that? And then that way they could continue to have more people at that corporation keep signing up. I worked at Willow Bend. If you worked at Gulf Warehouse, you could join for a certain rate that was much lower. And then everyone that worked there, do you remember, Ron? You don't remember that time ago, but it was just basically it was just a little lower than a normal rate for the membership. However, they had to meet a requirement of so many people.
Here's my only concern with that is that the individual is paying that.
Right.
Company in town, it gives a plan. Now all of our memberships are, I like for the company to have to.
Company to pay for it.
Yeah. That's my.
I think where you offset that's where you give them some discount rates, so that 20 or 10, they put on your gas fee passes, they can buy those.
They could offer the passes to their employees.
It'd be set up
I'm
for-
inclined to stay at the 4 and then go to, I personally think option 1 looked the best to me.
So what, I mean, I like what you said, option 1 and then add the 10 or 20 passes with, so basically this option with the addition of the 10 or 20 guest passes. That's a lot easier on us too, because we're not having a discount. We just have a pass and we've already got paid.
Yeah.
Would you give them the option of paying monthly for everything, or it'd have to be a lump sum?
I like lump sum on a quarter.
I think that the 4 should be an open-ended, like it's not 4, it could be 4, it could be 7, it could be 9. You can still get the extra passes, but you'll pay more for each, but they may have a board, the whole board wants it, and there's 10 members of the board.
Okay.
That's what I was gonna say. That's the only thing I see wrong with this one is that it's like we're limiting them to 4. If they want to have more than 4 on
They
the.
minimum 4.
Yeah, there you go.
They want to do it for 20, let them do it for 20.
Mhm.
Was that gonna be different?
That was my main reasoning for that, would be like a combination of those would be the best, because you don't want to limit how many they can do.
Give it like
Figure out a way that they have to pay for those people.
Any idea how big these corporations are that you're talking to now?
One is fairly good size, the other, they're not, I would say 20, 20 employees, so they'd probably be four people.
The original 4 signed.
Any of them corporations have needs to plan.
Not the one, see, that's the other thing I was worried about what they were saying. Not the ones I talked to yet, but like, if we have leagues that have tons of employees that play, that pay memberships, that worries me. Now suddenly they're charging that to them as a benefit, we lost money there. That's my only reason for capping that, is so many set memberships. Now,
I agree. You get too open-ended.
Say a dozen or so. I mean, you do have boards that have 12 members.
I would, maybe we do a minimum of 4, maximum 10. How does that sound?
And this would be charged on a monthly basis or?
one time.
My thing would be to go lump sum, you pay up front for corporate memberships. Yeah,
They'd have to lump sum 60,000. Saying they're gonna pay for the whole year, 5,000 a month, you said.
oh, not a month.
I thought you were saying that.
No,
For the year.
Would be nice. Yeah. I like where your head's at, but I don't know where you're gonna-
I don't know, I mean, I'm just lost the play.
Yeah, no, the 5,000, that comes out, for 4 people, that comes out to $104 per month per person instead of 118. So there's a little bit of discount, but we're hoping that we're getting a lot extra revenue with guests and tournaments and partnerships with projects.
That being the case, I'm gonna limit it to the 4. I don't think you want to broaden that out too wide.
Would that run membership contract 1 year from the date of?
From day of sign.
No F&B requirements,
What's that?
no food and beverage requirements.
No, that would be great. It's pretty much impossible for us to keep up with our system. I have no idea how we would even do that.
They use it.
Yeah.
Facility.
I mean,
You guys, we still club pro.
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Good and bad there.
So is the discounted rate an arbitrary number or what is it? I mean, I like the other where you had 10 or 20 passes or whatever you. I assume that's whatever the.
Yeah, the 10 and 20 passes, and again, I just made these numbers up just because where I thought it should be. 10 rounds would be at $35 per round. So that would be at $350 on top of the membership. 20 passes at $32.50 a round. That would be $641. $650 there per round, or per membership.
Should the passes be divisible by 3 or 4? I mean, if I have the membership and I want to bring 3 people out.
So they load them onto their account, like a smart card, so they just take one off every time they race. That we can't do. Sounds like we're trying to figure out what the number would be.
I wouldn't mind using option 1, but maybe moving your 10, 18 hole over into that category.
Right,
Yeah. What else suggested that?
So my suggestion, just so everybody, I think it's clear, is option 1, exactly the way it is, one lump sum for corporate memberships, and then they have the option of purchasing 10 or 20 guest rounds, and they would pay for all of that up front.
Capping it at how many members?
4 to 10, is that what you said?
Mike said he would like to cap it at 4.
Yeah, I think getting 4 of the corporate designees is enough. That's my opinion.
Is the, say they got guest rounds, can they like give those to a vendor and those people, or would one of the 4 corporate members have to also be there when the other people come?
They would have to at least call us and set that up, because I don't know. People just show up and say, I'm with so-and-so, I don't know. So, yeah, they would either have to be with them or they would have to set that up in advance.
Those rounds they paid for up front, so it's, but if someone wanted to say, come in and say, hey, I've got 3 people coming in, and I want them on the discounted rate, would the other person have to be there? Would the corporate person have to be there?
I'm okay, as long as they call and they verify and we know up front, I'm fine with it. Yeah. And
They've already paid for those.
We sell the membership.
They've already paid for those rounds anyways.
Yeah.
I guess they're paying for it, so it's.
Up front, right?
What was the numbers you suggested? I'm not sure. Did you say 37?
Dollars?
Yeah.
10 rounds at 35 or 20 rounds at 32.50.
What's our lowest rate? 32.50.
And that would include cards.
Oh, that's including cards.
Those cards, yeah.
That's pretty good discount.
Including about $20 for the
That's a pretty good
green
deal.
fee.
Yeah, no, it's including cards.
Yeah, it'd be like $20 green fee, but
That's a good deal. I'm fine with 37 there.
Yeah, because the green fee right now
I think when we were doing the math earlier, basically the cart was free.
So someone with a membership would just pay $15. Someone just paying a green fee would pay whatever. So this is kind of a number it's not as much as a walk-in green fee because it's tied to a membership, but it's not as much, it's not as cheap as a membership fee, where you're not paying anything.
Anybody got a suggestion? Again, adding the 10, that one over that we had, then authorize option 1.
Yeah, I would just think if it includes the card,
That's a good deal.
it should be maybe $40. Because right now, and we're gonna increase the green fees $5 mid-March.
They are $40 except for Auburn.
So the guest fee passes would be card included instead of individual.
55 down to 40. That's still a pretty good deal. I mean,
You're kind of banking on them using the event and being heavy on the food and beverage too, though.
yeah. That's what I think.
I think if a business owner is bringing some clients or whatever with them, they're
Usually
going to spend more than the average golfer spending $3 while they're there that day.
And
They're only going to spend $20 a person.
a lot of this, since we've started putting money back into our system, I've gotten a lot of people that are willing to partner and help, like, so, reach out to me if you're doing a project, whatever, like, and that's kind of one of my main goals with this is to build those relationships. We can partner on projects, and I think there's a lot of opportunity there. So I know that's a little bit probably on the cheaper side, but I'm looking at the opposite end of it, what hopefully we can get from it. If we get one tournament, we've covered every bit of what we've given up in revenue.
All this money is up front, correct? So I wouldn't go $40 green fees. I mean, you got to show some value to it. They're paying up front. I mean, there's not a single membership in this system that you prepay. Other than the trail fee we have at Auburn. You don't prepay for anything. They bill it monthly. So if you don't show them some kind of a value, they're not gonna think it's a deal for them.
The way it breaks down is about $25.
Yeah, but they're talking $40 green fees or $45.50. I mean, a little bit of a discount. I'd make it so that it's appealing.
Yeah, there's still
Added value.
It's gonna be with the card, it's only 25.
So are you saying you think $40 is too much for a green fee and card?
It's kind of what it is now.
Kind of what it is now. You're gonna just 20% discount?
They're only limited to 10 or 20 in a year. After that, they want to go through 10 or 20 rounds if you're bringing 2 or 3 people out, and then it's full vote after that.
Because I think what Scott's getting at is when it all comes down to it, that one there's gonna be.
People have them. Yeah.
It's only $50 there.
It'd be something like that, Jesse, at Crestview, because I see a lot of people with guest passes from corporate memberships. We'll have to ask Trent what they do.
Well,
I just don't want to kick this can down the road because I do have people that I'd like to get back to if we're going to do this.
I would like to go ahead and get it set myself. I mean, we're talking, when you talk $5 difference on a deal like that, you get 10 extras, that's $50 for the year.
You can always modify it later. He likes playing one.
So
Go ahead and set it up like you have it. Yep. For the first 10 rounds, it's $35 per round, or if you do the 20 rounds, it's $32.50. Is that what you said?
I would be inclined to put the 20 rounds over into option 1.
Or I could just give an option of 20 rounds at 35.
That's fine.
10 rounds, just 20 rounds at 35.
That's fine with me.
I think that works. I mean, with our prices going up, that's still a nice little discount.
That would be 700, so it'd be $5,700. You would get 4 memberships, you get 20 rounds for gas fees, and then the other stuff to go.
That sounds good.
That's fine with me.
4 designees.
Yeah.
You've been too quiet.
And those memberships don't include, it's just green fees.
Give them pretty good discounts.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
Put it on that corporate.
By all, other than the gas fees would include the car. Yep.
All right, do we have a motion in that, to that effect? I do believe he has to have a motion for this. You're setting prices, right?
Yeah. Membership rates for sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's make,
I make a motion that we use the option one with the 20 extra rounds at $35. Do I have a second?
I second that.
Martin, say something.
She seconded.
Okay, all right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. But nobody's opposed. Okay, that's corporate. I have one more thing in there. Robert's done so much work out there. What was the status on those sonic things that we were looking into about putting in those ponds and try to hold down that algae problem? You gonna report on that?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Okay, I just had it jotted down here, so.
on my list.
That being the case, new business is the 2023 financial discussion.
All right. Yes, Marcia.
I have one more question about the corporate membership, and that's just, are we going to market this, or is this just available word of mouth for people that contact you?
Yeah, we will market it. Yeah, I'll work on kind of the marketing. I'll put together a flyer and like an email thing, but I'll definitely add it to the website as a membership option. I don't know that I'm gonna blast it out all over the place, but I will have it on the website.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, new business. I do have a little bit of new business I'd like to bring up just for off the cuff.
Yeah.
I ran across, and now I don't delve into this very much, but I had Aetna insurance because I'm old, wore out. But it appears as though Aetna now pays golf course fees.
So when I went to Washington DC here back earlier in the year, that was one of the things that we were lobbying for, to get that passed, where they do a reimbursement. So basically you have up to $600.
$1,200. One policy is $1,200, one policy is $600.
So you can use that for green fees, you can use that for equipment, you can use that for like shoes, clubs, lessons, even, whatever. So we have a ton of people now that are calling, asking for receipts for their membership.
Yeah.
Our membership, since there's no social aspect to it, it's not like a country club. So it's strictly just a golf membership, and that's the way it's worded on the website, can be used. So they can get their membership fees reimbursed. So we have a list of people, it's growing every day, people that are wanting that receipt, and then they do the paperwork on their end to get reimbursed for that. So we blasted that out. I had Aetna out at one of our big tournaments to talk about it and spread that program, and we've got a lot of people that are taking advantage of it.
I mean, it seemed like
It only helps us, and we get paid, they just get reimbursed, so.
that's the first time I've run across it. So anyway, I just thought I'd mention it. So, okay, back to new business, 2023 financials. Everybody got a copy now.
I just put that on there. I know last meeting they did not have these complete yet, so we finally got on it since it is the full year. I just wanted to see if there were any questions, concerns. There were a couple of things I did want to kind of explain on the financials, but first, are there any questions or issues anyone saw with the financials?
Did you find out about the admin fee, if it really is, it's 116 or 2023?
It was in 23, yeah.
So it went down $60,000.
Yeah, not probably gonna stay there, so. Yeah, a couple of things, if you go, so overall, I'm gonna hit this in just a minute. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to, you're okay, I'm gonna combine this with the Brown report, and that way I can get out of the way for the staff that are here. Okay, so we ended up with a revenues over expenses, our total revenue over expense, basically our net profit, was $720,540. Compared to years past, and then in 23, that number was 622. So we made about 100,000 more, but we also spent a lot of money, with not only the irrigation, unfortunately, but a lot of the upgrades and things that we were doing. So all things considered, I'm pretty happy with that. I think obviously it can definitely go up this year. Hopefully a lot of the expenses that we spent this year were kind of one-offs. We're always gonna have new things pop up, but considering all the things that we accomplished, I feel pretty good that we ended up with that number. Going through course by course, I've had a question about techs. Their labor numbers were a lot higher, and that was because in 22, there were the coding, there was employees that were being charged for the wrong course, and there were different things looking back that caused it just wasn't clean. So we got all that corrected in 22. It looked like labor was way up at tech, so it's because they weren't being charged for labor before that. But still, if you go course by course, Auburn ended up with almost $500,000 in net revenue and profit. Mac was at 222. Sim was at 356, which is often with what they, they don't have all the revenue streams that the other courses have. And then Tech's was 426,000. So, I mean, that's again, I feel pretty good about that. I think we're going to blow that out of the water if we have good weather this year. But the expenses were at 96.52% of total budgeted. So even with everything, we kept the expenses down. The revenues were at 104, and that was after we raised the revenue go by quite a bit midway through the year. So a quick update on our fund balance. At the end of the year, the general fund had $1,135,000. That was after we transferred 500,000 to the project fund. That 500,000 is still there. We have about 150 in the equipment replacement fund. The cart fund is, if we don't touch it for anything other than carts, it's set up that if nothing changed based on last year's numbers, we wouldn't have to spend another penny for 16 years. The way that is set up now. What else am I missing? And then we have the new grounds fund, which part of 240 of that 500,000 has been transferred to that for the cart pass.
Yeah, I had sent you a note about the card fund, and you sent me some information about that. I think you said we get about 250K per year. That comes from that $2 for every cart rental that goes into the cart fund.
Right.
And with that, the annual fee for those carts is somewhere around 330,000.
303, I thought. Is it 330?
I thought it was, no matter. Anyway, I just wondered, would it be wise to, instead of $2 for every cart rental that goes into that, if $3 went into the, for every cart rental went into that, that'd be another $125,000. We put you at 375 per year, which would be well over, would be self-sustaining and would never go down. The way it is now, it will go down a little bit each year. I mean,
Right.
theoretically.
So
I know you have a big chunk in.
the other part of that is we sold our carts. So everybody knows all the elements of it. We sold our carts, which put 880,000 or whatever in that account to start with, and then the 250,000 here. So each year, basically 50,000 of that 880,000 will be taken out. We'll lose that just because we're making 250. But one thing to remember too, we didn't get those carts until midway through the year. And at Mac, we missed so many cart rentals because they didn't have carts. I mean, every weekend, almost every day for half the year, either people were walking or leaving because we didn't have carts. So that number should go up. But that was just in 2023, it was $250,000. And we didn't do the cart increase until April, maybe?
Yeah.
So I definitely, my opinion, I don't want to raise the price of the cart. No, yeah, I think what you're saying is just.
No, I'm not saying raise the price of the cart. I'm saying instead of taking $2 that goes into the cart fund, take $3 that goes into the cart fund. I realize you'd have left going into your general fund, but you're raising your green fees $5, you're raising your range balls. You're going to get more revenue in other places.
More expenses.
And you can still make that to where it's self-sustaining for sure. I mean, no doubt.
My opinion, let's get through this year. and see where we're at. We can make that adjustment at the end of this year to see how much revenue we're gonna have from the carts with a full year of the new rate increase and that. We are raising the other green fees and all that, but we did go from $1 to $3 for the green fee goes into the equipment replacement instead of the general fund. And we also, with the range ball, I mean, the expenses are gonna go up as well. So even though we're making more revenue, the expenses are gonna go with it. So I'm a little bit hesitant to keep pulling out of that general fund at the moment. Okay, my opinion, and you guys tell me what you think.
I think in terms of that, the fact that you've got some unknown expenses, if we get, assuming that we get some CIP money that we potentially have to offset out of the operating. The delete the operating fund where you have funds available might be stepping the wrong way. And is that we still got a pond to build at McDonald Park. We still got, like you said, we're gonna encumber money for cart paths. We got tees, artificial tees to put on back of these ranges so we can kind of keep them a little open where they're not heading out of the dirt. There's some extended, you know, we still got trees to cut down. It could be 200,000. I mean,
Right.
we don't want to delete that. And
Another thing, Chris, at the end of the year, anything over $1 million is to be transferred to that project bucket that we could always just pull into that cart bucket from there if we needed to. So,
the 800,000 that you refer to isn't reflected in that
no,
1.135.
no.
Okay.
Any questions on the financials? Hopefully you've all looked through them. Good. Okay, we're ready to go forward. I'll go ahead and do the rounds report quickly for January, and there's not a lot to talk about in January. We were closed for like 17 days because it was freezing. So when you look at the numbers, we'll get to the good news in a second, but year to date around, we were obviously way down. We weren't open hardly at all, so we're down 4,000. For the year, it's saying one time we had 152, almost 153 hours of simulator book for all $5,000 in the month of January. That's all.
Is that basically eating up most of those tea times for that or not?
Yeah, with January, we were booked almost 100%. Yeah, now as the days get longer, we'll add tea times to that, but we have noticed a little bit of a drop now that it's been nicer outside, but it's still being used a lot. Year to date, cart rentals, of course, we're down because we didn't have rounds. Food and beverage, same thing, we're down about half of last year. Again, this is just January 1 through January 31st. Driving range, nobody's involved at 12 degrees. And merchandise is actually up. So we're up quite a bit, $7,000, $6,000 there. So now the good news. So January was terrible. February's been a different story. It's been a much better month. Start to the month. Oh, one more page here. Membership counts, pretty much no change in memberships, and then total revenue. We were down $17,000 January over January. Now, February's been much better. So this morning I pulled January 1, first day of the year, yesterday. We are up $25,000 already. So we were down 17,000 and we've already made that up plus another 10,000, and then the rest of this month looks great. So by the end of this month, we should be 40, 45,000, 50,000 potentially up over last year through the first 2 months. So thank goodness we get a little stretch of weather there. Oh, any questions on the round? I think that's, yeah. Any questions on the round? Anything? Pretty. January's January. Take what we get. So. Okay. All right, well, Mark, if you're okay with it, I'm gonna go ahead and go to the next.
You skipped your IT upgrade.
I know that's what I was gonna do. So the next piece of new business I have was the IT upgrade. We had IT come out. Well, let me back up. We all know our computer system has been very slow. It's been awful. It still is. CPS, the company that we use, they spent 1,000 hours on the phone with us through December trying to fix everything on their end. I feel like they did finally, everything they could figure it out. They archived a bunch of information, they did a bunch of stuff. Tried to fix it. Didn't see much difference except for one day we were at Tex. Our IT guy and their IT people got together and we have a server downstairs in this building that is dedicated to golf that we used to use for all of our POS systems. For some reason, a few years ago, they moved that server to Ohio. So that information is going to Ohio and back, and anyway, I can't explain it, don't make sense to me. But that day, they switched all the information to the server downstairs in a test environment. We could play around, and it was lightning fast. To log in, it took, I think it was 45 seconds for him to log in. With the Ohio server, it took like 8 seconds for him to log in on our server. So you'll know, Robert knows more about this, way more about this than I do. I don't probably even saying this totally wrong. And that we started the discussion of, well, let's move everything back to our servers. Working on that. In that process, we had some long talks with the entire IT team. Had some people come out to each course. Our switches that we use, which basically all the cables go into, that sends all the information out, are 12 to 15 years old. They're not nearly they're like right now, like our network should be sending, I don't know, like a gig of information, whatever. These are only capable of doing 500,000. And even at that, since they're slower than what we're feeding to it, it's slowing it down even more. So we're running at like 300,000. We should be at 1 million. That's the dumb way to say it. So they're going to replace those switches. And a lot of our cabling is Cat 3 and Cat 5. Everything should be Cat 6 to be running at full speed right now. So they're going to replace the switches. They're going to replace all the cabling in all the buildings, basically redo all the IT in all the buildings. That's going to cost about $70,000 to do that. But no matter what we do, nothing's going to work right until we do that. So this all happened in the last 4 weeks probably. So I just don't see we can switch companies. We can do whatever we want. It's not going to get better until we do this. So I don't think we have a choice. So we're working on putting the plan together to get that done. We wouldn't shut down business or anything. They would basically put everything in place, shut it down for 10 minutes, switch everything, flip it back on. So there's no disruption to the golf courses except for $70,000. Any thoughts on that, or?
That's above and beyond what we already pay them.
Okay. Yes. So I've asked for, I didn't get it before today, I've asked for a breakdown of IT charges, exactly what do we pay in what does that cover? I haven't gotten it yet. I was hoping to have that for you guys. I told them that it was a request from you, and I haven't gotten it yet.
But whatever we paid doesn't amortize so that they keep our equipment up to date.
They keep it up and running, I guess, based on what day.
All of our stuff's obsolete.
Yeah.
We have started getting new computers too. Auburn got theirs, I think Matt got theirs.
We got ours today.
Yeah, yours, you should be any day, but we're getting new computers as well. But yeah, I guess those fees.
Yeah, those fees should include periodic upgrades. Instead of just let them die on the vine before you move.
Again, I asked for a breakdown on what those fees cover. I haven't gotten it yet, but I guess that keeps it up and running, but not up to date.
Just like what we did with the carts, that way they got the best stuff out there.
Robert on.
Yeah. I hear you. Trust me.
Well, doesn't sound like an option, but I mean, as slow as the computers are, they need to be upgraded.
And
Absolutely.
the other frustrating part is we pretty much have to use who's contracted with the city, and they're not going to support. If I just went out and got it for half the cost for the same thing, they're not going to support it, or I wouldn't even be able to purchase it because there's a contract in place. So I don't know that I could. That blew my head off when you told me the price. So they told me 30. I thought that was all of it. I thought that was high, and they came back and said, no, that's just switches. That's not the cabling. That's another 32,000.
You didn't blink. You must not have blinked.
Yeah. Well, I was on a computer. I'm pretty sure I was like, hold on, my screen, something just went out. I didn't hear that right. But yeah, it's so I'm looking at spending $70,000 here in the next couple of weeks to get that done.
Unfortunately, it's something that needs to be done, but again, I'd like to get some kind of report from them exactly what we paid for. Because that's been an ongoing fee for a number of years. Okay, that being said,
Bad news.
we've been through that. Auburn Hills update, Mr. Weller and Mr. Meyer.
Good afternoon. Some updates on Auburn. Some of the better weather that we've gotten, been able to get out there and clean up some pond edges and really just get the course back into some good shape. Been spending a lot of time on redoing some equipment and trying to get all that ready for the season. But really, we're just trying to find help at the moment to help us get some of these projects done. But some of the projects that we have coming up, I would like to fill in a couple bunkers that just are obsolete and don't ever get used or played out of. So, and then really just trying to open up some of our tee boxes. So the public can utilize all of our tee boxes, not just the white or gold tees. So really just trying to open up the course and have it to where anyone with any skill set can come out and play. So we also have some projects going on up at the clubhouse that we're going to start doing. On each side of the tunnel, we're going to take out some berms, and then on the back side of the clubhouse where we stage our carts at the end of the day after the golfers get done, we're going to take out that berm as well. So, got some projects here and there, but for the most part, just looking for good weather. So. You got questions or comments?
If you need a couple extra sets of hands when you start taking out those bushes and stuff.
Yes, sir.
Let me know ahead of time and I'll try to get some guys over there.
Yes, sir. I will do that. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it.
Taking down the berms, no trouble with irrigation problems.
We kind of ran into a little irrigation problem this morning, firing up the system. One of our pump filtration systems, basically just filters the water, wasn't working. So I got on the phone with Sergeant Driller and they're going to come down and take a look-see at it Friday, just because I'm not too familiar with the Flowtronics. I just have never really experienced that before. So, but other than that, we got some water on greens, so we should be good for a while. So.
Losing that filter, did it plug any heads or anything?
Yeah, I plugged a few heads. That's what I was mainly doing this afternoon, was going around and making sure we didn't have anything stuck or anything like that. So, but it all went pretty smooth. So can't really complain too much about it. Like we've said, all of our irrigation systems are in dire need and need some attention and love. So we just got to do that when it calls upon it. So. Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
Do you have any idea when you're gonna start those projects on the sides?
I would say here pretty soon. We still have a couple pieces of equipment to wrap up and some things out on the course to help us out a little bit. But I would say here in the next week or two, we're going to be getting on it pretty soon. So we just have a lot of little things that we need to do, just like cleaning up cart path edges, raising, lowering some heads and stuff like that. So we're definitely got our hands full, but. You ready, Scott?
If you're done, too bad. Go.
Their hobby.
Hoppy Weller.
Just to follow up with Dalton, some of the tasks we got around the clubhouse, I think are gonna really enhance just kind of the overall view of the clubhouse area. And, you know, hats off to Dalton and his band of 3 employees, including Neil. So they do a phenomenal job for a short window as they're at. So part of the clubhouse, as Jesse alluded to earlier, Randy Blumel, Board of Governors, was in the latter part of January. We did some golf shop counters and the F&B counters, you haven't been out there. No, Robert, you're out there today. Mike, you're out there about every other day. Working on this golf game. Tremendous improvement. We looked at some avenues, resurfacing the tops, but I think this epoxy that Randy put in really enhanced the overall visual and look in not only the golf shop, but the F&B. The F&B, if you haven't been there, is night and day different. So it kind of goes with the decor that Kevin set up last year with the black tables, black chairs. It's been very well received, and hoping that, a couple improvements here and there, once we get into the season, will assist us moving forward. And I'm sure Kevin will get to this, but we've got some new equipment that will be in place probably, like Friday they come down.
It will be out Friday to try and get you hooked up.
New piece of equipment in the kitchen, similar to what I think they already have at Sim, and they're gonna have at Tex. So
Everywhere's gonna.
we'll expand our menu as well. F&B, we're looking for great things, on that side of the operation this year. As far as golf shop, outings and events, continuing to get phone calls. Got another one today for another 60 to 80 players. I mean, the phone's just ringing off the wall. I told Jesse last week, I mean, some of the events that we're picking up this year are actually coming from the private side. Two of the ones that picked up in the fall are actually moving to Crestview. So things we're looking up. Probably the biggest issue we have right now is staffing. It's not on the maintenance side, it's in the golf shop, it's in the F&B. I mean, it's anywhere that you can possibly imagine within all our courses. We're just starving for help, and to be honest, we're not finding them. So they're not looking for jobs at the pay rate that we're currently willing to give or can give at the moment. So we're just fortunate, at least I'm fortunate, to have, a couple seniors and some college kids that are, willing to work for $10 an hour, because $10.10, but it's a struggle, and I'm not seeing anybody applying for jobs, and I don't care if it's outside or inside, we're hurting. I'm not gonna lie. It's making for some long days. I don't care if it's Steve or myself. I mean, we're all. There. That's all I have. Any questions?
I've heard talk about possibly getting a kegerator or something and start to serve cake beer in that front.
We've thrown that idea out. I mean, that's certainly a decision that we'll have to make with Kevin, but I mean, it all goes back to the atmosphere. If you want to provide an atmosphere, get those corporate members. I mean, ideally, I'd like to have a different type of license, but I don't see that coming anytime soon. But, I guess. What?
That was liquor license, shooting myself in the head.
I don't know, between Jesse, Kevin, and I mean, we've kind of discussed, we have an idea where we might put it. I mean, but we just haven't taken any action on it. But I think it would certainly enhance the property by having something available like that. It can be open for discussion. You can have Kevin on the side. Sometimes you can chew on his ear a little bit.
Take donations.
I just heard people talk. I didn't. Okay.
Well, I got the pin out today, but they told me I had to wait 4 more days before I put a shoe on.
They told him he could take it off 3 weeks ago. He just lacks the sympathy.
Playing golf. I've played golf since July.
Next on the agenda is Arthur B. Sim, Kent and Darren.
Some of the things that we've been working on is equipment. Joni, everybody knows Joni transferred over to me, and she's been wonderful. So she's been working on equipment. I've been helping her I've been working on irrigation. I've replaced all the quick couplers that were bad, which was 12. I mean, there's a lot more out there, but I can't find them all. So, we got a new bunker rig. Well, it's used, but you know, my bunker rig kind of hit the traps here December. We finally got a used one in. It's slow, but it works. So now the bunkers have been being rigged. Working on irrigation, trim trees projects. We got in the netting and cages for the hitting bays. Now we just need to figure out where we're gonna put them, how we're gonna do that.
Everybody know what that is about?
It sounded bad. It sounded like we ordered something. I had no idea what we. I just loaded the wagon to figure out how to pull it. Now I think we are gonna pour a concrete pad for wide enough for 3 bays. So we got the three bays, big net. We saw them at the PGA show and she was like, they're 8,000, whatever. I was like, I'll give you $49.99 and not a penny more. She said, okay, I'll throw in the mats.
All
I'm
right.
like, okay, so we did it. So they had them displayed there. They're nice commercial quality. So next few weeks, we'll figure out how to get those things standing up.
Warm up that since they don't have a range. So they don't hit down your 8th fairway anymore.
I don't care anymore.
Just run over their golf balls with a mower.
It just drives by, good shot.
Aaron, on those knobs right on the north side of the clubhouse, is there any pipe actually or anything that goes into those, that goes over the hill?
Well, I don't know if, I mean, you know, I've got, the irrigation runs through there.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's lower than the hill.
Well, I'm just curious. If the holes out there, peel them off and maybe put them in there.
So me and Jesse had looked at that. Grant drew up the irrigation drawing, you know, done by the contractor, I guess, or something. I mean, it's just gonna be something I'll have to find out, or dig and see. I don't know when them were put in.
Well, irrigation was put in 1986.
But I mean, when were the mounds put in?
That's when the reconstruction was done.
Okay. Maybe Grant knows, I'll ask Grant.
I just can't envision them putting the irrigation over the top of the whole.
Can't either. I'm open to suggestions on the bunker on 16. Filling it in, making it a mound. Putting in new sand and then making it back to a
You
bunker.
don't play there a lot. There's a fairway bunker on the right of 16. There's a tree in front of it. And if you're in that bunker, you're trying to hit 140-yard shot or something.
It's not even that.
140-yard shot.
16.
Yeah.
Oh, that's only like a 75.
Yeah, okay.
Grass bunker.
Turned into a grass bunker.
That's my thoughts, yeah.
Okay.
Sure, eliminate a lot. One thing about that. Yep.
Some poison ivy.
Martha, what are your thoughts on this bunker on 16?
Do not turn it into a normal bunker, a regular bunker again. That has been a disaster in the 20 years I've been playing there. So I would suggest grass bunker. I mean, not knowing much about landscaping, but I think from a golfer's standpoint, having it be a grass bunker makes sense. Having it be like it is now or turning it back into a sand bunker makes no sense to me.
That's like 602 out of 642 people that have agreed.
That particular hole. I'd agree, turn it into grass, but.
Maybe fill it in a little bit.
If we could get forestry out for a half a day and trim those elm trees up.
It's like.
It's
like.
So, sorry to interrupt, on the trees, I talked to Gary Ferris, he took over,
About to water
that's how the forestry and all that. He said if we had trees that were a definite safety issue, that he would prioritize those, but he's so backed up on just one of them we moved, that we may have to contract out. But if there are any that are definite safety issues, and talking to staff, please let me know, and I can get forestry out. But
I talked to them last summer, and it was late in the summer. And they were like, yeah, anything, you know, widowmakers or anything that looks, there's some elm trees out there that got hangers up there that I can't even remotely touch.
She's laughing at you.
Laughing.
And they said they'd be out the next day, and, you know, I called them a couple times, but this was when the other guy, not to say anything, I know they're busy.
Yeah, let me know. I've talked to him twice this past week, so let me know, like, if you can identify those trees, send them to me in an email,
Or just, Marcia will know.
You want to put an X on them all?
No, we don't want to do that.
So going back to that bunker, I think you started to say something about smoothing it a little bit. That
Well-
makes sense to me because it's really it's a fairly drastic slope on the tree side, right?
Yeah, it is, and it's hard to mow, and it's hard to, because it's a severe short slope, you can't really get a mower into this side and ends. So I was they got some they got some compost across the street. We can get it from the compost for free. Some of that's some sand. Because compost is free, I know it's not ideal, but it's free. You know, like free, so. That was my idea, was to fill it and then just overseed it, but maybe make it a little bit of a mound. So that green, if we can clear out that tree and I'll smooth up that area where all the roots are on that tree. But if I trim it up too much, that hole won't be drivable. It'll be a lot easier. And I know for some people that's great, but still want to make something, you know, so it gets defended. But I'm open to anything.
I think everyone's in agreement to fill it in at least.
Okay. So we'll fill it in. I was gonna try some zoysia, but Seth took my zoysia. I'll have to wait. So that's all I got. And then hopefully I'll have new irrigation. Any questions?
I played out there last Thursday, tremendous improvement over back when I started, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, a comment from myself. I did play that last Wednesday or whenever it was, and I thought there was a vast improvement over the grassing that's on the course now than there was last year. I mean, we don't have nearly the areas to grow completely back. So knock on wood, obviously, we hope the winter didn't do any damage to us. We had some nice snow coverage when the real significant cold weather hit, but I do believe that even in spite of the irrigation problems, we gained some ground.
The greens were great.
I don't have too much for Sims Clubhouse. Like Jesse was saying, working on some tournaments. Got several, we'll meet for the fall though. I think we got 5 lined up right now. Same company wants us to possibly sponsor those. Get some signage for the hitting bays once they're up, possible. I'll talk with you about that. Like Darren and Scott have helped me, short-staffed. A lot of my guys play spring sports. A couple guys took, my day guys took some jobs, other courses that are paying more. Darren and his groups come through on the weekends. Usually I'm the cart guy in the morning. Darren's come up. One of his crew, and Scott, obviously at the pro shop, is providing me some stuff for my stuff coming in, fixtures. Only thing left in the pro shop is some border on the slat wall that we still need to get. But talking with Kevin, I think I've been a guinea pig for the last couple of weeks at least with the food for everybody. More of, I started with a big menu that's kind of condensed down to what I think may or may not sell. So I'm just kind of trying to push it through our staff in terms of, one of my complaints is the guys making the turn. They want to hand it to them basically. The wait time on Sims is, we all bunch up on 10 fairly quick. So anything quick, we're talking about that. New warmer they've got coming, but
put some placards in for some sort of advertisement. I think on the placards now is some of the food we're offering. I think Scott's tournament's on there, just upcoming events, the other guys' courses we're trying to do. I think big problem now is pace of play. On the weekends, it's awful. I mean, they're still playing in 3.5 to 4 hours, but it's jam-packed in there. I got a couple new marshals starting for me, so that'll help. Not too much that we've caught with the beer, but it's died down quite a bit on the private cooler side. Also, I've had move some leagues around because most guys downtown that work for the city or in the city area can't come and play Twilight. So I've either got 2 or 4 leagues every night. So I've condensed them down on one side with tee times, and then my other side's gonna be open for people that can come out, so I'm not turning people away. It's probably gonna be a little bit more rounds. I wouldn't think too much, but telling people no on the phone instead of trying to work them in is, I think, what my staff's working on. But other than that, obviously the hitting bays, I think Darren and I had talked about possibly on 8 instead of next to the clubhouse. Other than that, any questions?
You have a 36-hole challenge or something.
Yeah, we changed it for easier scoring. That'd be June 29th, I think. That's the only sanctioned city one, but night golf is possibly in the works. Still trying to price it out. I think that would be whether it's just a one-night deal where they can come out and play. 9 holes are having a tournament. It's still on the discussion right now, but I think my course without any creeks and stuff and ridges would probably be ideal. So
All that equipment I have.
okay.
Steve, I want to give it back to Steve, but he don't.
It's mine. I don't want it.
On a positive note, I know that we just had a couple meetings with my ladies, and they had begged me to start a winter league, which I thought was nonsense, on Tuesdays. And they started with about 6, and now today we had like 27. And so it's become really good. So basically my ladies leagues have gone, will be through the whole year. So they basically the same as most of my 18s and 9s will play together now. It was busy today. Any questions?
Comment. Having been able to play over at Sims lately, I did get a couple of guys come up that are normally grumpy and said the hamburger was really good. For you, Kevin, now, I don't prepare these things, but I did get some comments.
Prepare them. I trained them, but they prepare them.
They said it was delicious.
I've had one.
Unfortunately, I haven't been able to get one yet, but I've got another one. I played last Wednesday for the first time in a while, and I did see some vagrants or some tent city going on over off.
Yeah, that's an issue out of
Off
Sim.
14 over there, and
Yeah, I said I'm probably having to go in.
I'm just making mention of that, so because if the council happens to get the minutes of this thing, they may hear this. So far, I don't know if the police department's done much about it.
So it's kind of a fine line because they're allowed out there. I mean, whoever it is, I don't know if they're homeless or not. I get called in overnight once a week minimum. Whether an attempted break, nothing's been taken or broken in. But the encampments are, this weekend I had to confront some because now it's moved to the course where they're asking golfers and stuff like that. But
We had one today.
yeah,
Tony, I was out on the course. He was very confrontational with her.
yeah.
Well, I think maybe, we can get a little bit more of a response out of some.
The police will come a third of the time.
2 hours later.
They basically just told us, just keep letting us know when you have a problem.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't help us for anything.
No.
I know they've gone in and removed those encampments before, so. I mean, if you're harassing people out on the course and in the clubhouses and I know the one encampment over there was pretty messy. Huggies.
Yeah, they kind of moved out and they just left everything, and it was just trash.
Yeah.
Better or worse since those houses are more built to, houses on the north side, I know they were living in the frames. Better or worse since they're farther along. Houses, but
So, yeah, I mean, there's, no one's buying them though, because there's probably 5 out of the 18 right now they're living in.
they're a little pricey. I know that the homeless population was living in those frameworks before they finished it. And when I played Thursday, it looks like they're pretty much done
Yeah.
at the houses. Just need people to move in to clear them out.
You talking about the new houses to the north? I didn't know that they were building specs over there. What they were built to order. Huh, I didn't know.
Only about a fifth done.
They are on top of each other. You can stick your hand out the window and shake hands with your neighbor. They are tight.
75,000.
Yeah. Some of the gutters overlap.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Great job, Kent. All right,
Marshall.
Colin and Ron.
Go ahead, big.
I mean, we kept a lot. We're gonna approve the next, here the next month. Try to get more, but yeah.
All right, so we finished most of the renovations at McDonald and we're getting lots of great feedback from everyone. We still have the food and beverage to do, but the bathrooms look great. Flooring, new ceilings. We're hearing lots of really good stuff about what we've done. So it's, off to Kevin and Jesse for, planning the renovations because they've gone really well. And the volunteers have been unbelievable, like Robert and Charles. They've been coming out almost every day, and what they've done to the lakes is unbelievable. You guys haven't been out to McDonald, and everything Ron's doing out there as well. McDonald's really looking fantastic and getting better, day by day. And that's really good to see because I know, we have unbelievable potential out at McDonald to really grow this year. I think cart revenue and is a huge going to be a huge thing for us this year because half of last year we only had about 50% of the carts that the other courses did. So I'm excited to see the extra revenue we can get with cart rentals this year. And the other area where we can really improve this year is in tournament revenue. And we've already added a bunch of events in the spring. And I see that continuing to improve as we go through the year. And the great thing too, even though we've raised prices on our tournaments this year, people haven't batted an eye. They're signing up and haven't said anything about any price increases. So I think that's going to be extra revenue that we're going to really be able to bring in this year and offering some new things that we might not have offered in years past, throwing in range balls and letting them use the food and beverage carts, things like that. Really getting people excited about coming out to all of our courses for tournaments this year. So we're seeing an increase there and definitely have the best staff I've had in a long time. We've had some new people that are fantastic. Just added another one this week. And I don't know if you've met Trevor also, he's really good. So I'm excited about the staff we have moving forward and seeing really good customer service. Does anybody have any questions or concerns about anything at McDonald?
Everybody been out to McDonald Club? I mean, got to go out and stop by. They did it, get all the offices are now done out there and little conference meeting. Colin moved his office and I thought, that's a heck of a view out of your window.
That window is awesome, yeah.
And that's
In the last 2 weeks, we've had, 3 meetings with groups about tournaments?
Yes. So, and like Jesse said, we're not even going, full force towards them yet, which we're going to, but they're just coming to us. And like I said, they don't seem to mind any price increases. They're paying, they just want us to, take care of them and they want to have their events at our courses. So I think it helps a lot when people just see the new McDonald look. Also, people just want to have their events, at some place that's really nice and the improvements are really, really good. So. And then like I said, the only one we have coming up here is the food and beverage, which Kevin's working on right now. But everything looks really good. And it's really nice to have the new bathrooms. Well, so any other questions or concerns?
But you got some applause from Marcia.
Applause from Martian. Applause from Martian.
That was for the bathrooms. I haven't seen them yet. I just saw the pictures, but I've heard good things, so.
Yeah, everything's turned out really well, so we're all really excited and looking forward to a really good year this year. But yeah, I mean, the carts, I don't think we got the carts passed. I think over half of last year, we had about 32 carts, and most of the other courses had 65 to 70 or plus, so we should really see an increase in revenue there. In fact, I think we were out of carts by 9:30 in the morning most of last spring.
We had some people angry last year.
So that's, that has to make people really happy and everything's looking good for this year. And that's awesome that we've already made up for January. And we're gonna have a really good February, it looks like. So
And Colin is gonna be, his pro shop's gonna be the hat shop. He's really working on bringing in every type of hat, like all the way around the pro shop. So that's gonna be his little niche there. It's, we're walking out with hats left and right, so.
yeah, adding a lot of new brands. This week we've added Travis and Matthew, Good. We're gonna have Bad Birdie coming in a couple of weeks. A lot of the new trendy stuff I'm trying to get, especially since a lot of that stuff Shields had and they're running out of it. So hopefully they don't restock. Because I'm trying to get the pro shop a little bit more upscale this year. And, definitely testing some things out and seeing what people like and asking the customers, what things they're interested in and getting a lot of good feedback on those new things that you might not see in every pro shop. And the slat walls that they put in really have helped me make the pro shop look fantastic. So, and then we just put new lighting in, Kevin. As
Appeared, I didn't do it.
added some new lighting on my hat wall there, and yeah, everything's really good.
And he signed with Callaway, so he's bringing in all their stuff.
So we're in our Callaway facility. We still carry Titleist products, but we're going to have a lot of stuff coming in the next few weeks. Callaway. We're going to have drivers, wedges, putters. Well, there'll be Odyssey putters, but everything in the Callaway line. So a lot of the stuff you see over at Tex Consolver with Steve, he has it over there as well. And
Sorry, Steve.
and best of all, I got my staff gloves in this week. So, so all right,
Wow.
all right, Ron.
Bringing notes because I'm old.
Be out of here about 6 o'clock.
Yeah, good luck. That was it.
No, I've just got a few things calling.
Give me a second, Ron. For those who don't know, Ron did go to the GCSA National Show in Phoenix, which was an educational floor show and seminars. But hopefully, if the budget gets approved, we'll have enough money in there to send all of our superintendents to that next year. So,
Not to toot my own horn, but it was paid out of my own pocket to go.
yeah,
Because
I mean, that's
I see it as a value, so.
So
Yeah.
I think that's really a draw for our guys to get further education and know what's going on in the business.
All right, I just got a few things. Colin mentioned Robert and some of his friends have been out doing a great job doing some trimming around the lakes, some overgrown or volunteer trees, I should say, not necessarily overgrown, but volunteer trees. Looks really good. They're planning on being out again tomorrow to do some more, so that's It's one of those things, 3 or 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I don't think we would have seen golfers, say, hey, I want to come out and help. And I think we're seeing that at all the courses. So I think that speaks well of, hopefully it speaks well of our golf system, how it's running, but I think it speaks well of how the public sees us and sees the value of the golf courses. So I think that's very good. Couple of things. I know this spring I've got some areas in some fairways that some was a result of last year sod, need to be sodded in, and some are result when we've been transitioning from ryegrass to Bermuda. Definitely like to try to get that done maybe even after April 15th, after we get past the chance of any kind of a freezing temperature. It's nice to wait till the Bermuda's green to put it in, but it can be put in before it's really green up. And that way it's already getting rooted in before it's really coming fully out of dormancy. Last fall, we did a lot of seeding in some roughs. Probably going to do some more of that this spring. Next month, we'll be putting down our pre-emerge herbicides. So there's some areas we will skip the weed control so that we can do some seeding. But I bought some have been missing, some broke off. Some anyway, yardage marker posts in the rough, like a red, white, blue, gold 250. Bought some of those. Need to get those installed. It just kind of helps for when people are out there, they can kind of look over and get a deal. I think a lot of people have rangefinders anymore or a snap on their phone, but there's still some people that appreciate having those. So got to get those put in. One thing I've had a guy that I know, he's an aquatic weed specialist. He's been out and visited the course. He's written me up a program, some products to use in the lakes. Probably even start. He's actually talking today. He said places he's been checking water temperatures of areas that he takes care of. It's getting there. He said probably in the next week or two, go ahead and start putting the products in the lakes that will start to do some control of that. So that'll be a little bit ongoing. We'll see how it goes. Once we get into the year, we've got other products that I can use to basically the way he says, put out fires once you start seeing stuff. So hopefully that'll be that'll be a big deal as far as I'm concerned. Those lakes, 2 years ago, we had all the construction done to where the lakes would hold water. They went for 3 or 4 years just with a lot of weeds, volunteer trees and stuff growing in the lake. So now we have a lot of organic matter in there. So it's created an issue, but hopefully I'll be on top of that starting out in spring before it even really becomes an issue. So that's probably the big thing. I really don't have anything else. Thinking of some projects to do, some tee boxes maybe, but nothing major. But just one I know I'd like to do. Number 6, the white tee is very small. I'd like to try to expand it just because it gets beat up to nothing by about June. So other than that, don't really have a lot. Just like everyone, hopefully people start knocking on the door. We've had a couple applicants for seasonals. Like Jesse mentioned, our full-time position that is open, that has gone out to several different outlets. So hopefully we're going to get some good candidates to fill those positions. So that's about it. Any questions? Comments?
If you expand that T forward on number 6, you have to take that tree out to the right.
Well, basically what I will do, instead of expanding the small white tee, instead of trying to add on, go forward, I'm going to regrade and make so where the white tee is part of the blue tee.
Yeah.
So it makes it easier to have the teeing area there. Get rid of the slope that's there, because that little slope, would add,
Out T box.
right, it would add some teeing area. So, the blue tee area doesn't need to be that big. It's, you got a blue tee area that's 3 times as big as the white tee area on that hole. So.
Talk about that. Stuff.
Well, real quick, we are exploring some options for the bunkers at back. the bunkers are not good. They don't drain very well, and as is, it corrodes. You could put the best sand in the world, and about in a few weeks, the way they fill up with water and don't drain, you get rocks and everything else, so dirt and mud. So Ron saw some stuff in Phoenix that he brought back. I really like it. We're exploring that option, kind of talking to some different people. So it's a lot less expensive than doing a Better Billy bunker or capillary concrete project. We could do it in-house, hopefully. But we're still gathering that information, and we'll bring it, probably have a presentation for you at the next meeting.
Yeah,
But
should have everything after the next meeting, so,
very excited. That's
yeah.
both of us, obviously, that's a major project we want to see get done this year back.
Thank you. Mike.
Appreciate it.
Have any,
Oh,
you're just gonna fill in there.
Steve,
Yeah.
But we'll, I've been here.
I noticed a few that need to be.
Save the best for last.
Quickest for last. Things going on at Tex, just to be brief here, going through a snack bar remodel right now, so currently, yeah, my snack bar's all tore up. This week they'll be doing the cabinets. They're coming in to reface all the cabinets and refinish those, and then here in a couple of weeks, we'll have the countertops redone, and we'll be able to add the turbo chef and some other food options. Got in a bunch of freezers and sandwich stations, so we're in the middle of that. It's kind of tore up, busy as ever, like normal. Tournaments, leagues, no issues. I've added several events. All my leagues have rebooked. Probably the most popular things are simulator. That was been going great. As the weather's gotten nicer where people can get out, it's started to slow down a little bit. So I've been doing a little more teaching and club fitting in there. So that's been a great tool. I'll be getting the Callaway stuff in. Anyway, if you're looking for distance, get the Callaway irons. They go forever.
Awesome.
Right? Jesse can vouch.
Yeah.
30, 40 yards.
It's not right.
Yeah. Anyway, I've done 3 fittings, sold 3 sets of clubs. It's a no brainer, but it's nice to have that tool to be able to go in there and show somebody just, here's the numbers. Like that thing's going 18 yards further and higher with more spin, so you can
It's
control.
just 30 yards.
I hit my 7-iron like 180. I was hitting that 7-iron like 205, 210.
Yeah, it's
Like, too far. I don't know. What do I hit after that? I don't.
need a bunch of wedges.
Have to land on the cart path, it won't go as far.
That was hitting down the airport.
Yeah. Other than that, we are working on gonna have a simulator league as things are starting to die off here in March, starting up. So a 2-man simulator league. It'll be a 9-hole, 6-week league, play 9 holes each week. Schedule your own times.
Wait a second. It'll be a 2-person, not a 2-man.
I'm sorry, 2-person.
Person.
Yes.
I can't see my.
PC.
Tease accordingly. Like it'll be Pebble Beach, back night at Pebble Beach 1 week. You'll schedule your own time, play, we'll flight it and pay out accordingly. And so probably have a championship at the end for the winners, but simulator's been great, no issues. Runs perfect. A lot of good feedback on it. Everybody that's kind of been in, I have certain guys that just come out and practice like a couple hours a week, run it, get all their numbers and work on their swing. It's been great for lessons too. So a lot of instructions, the ranges and open.
To add a bunch of new.
We are rolling out our new range balls tomorrow. We're clean picking as we speak. So we should have all new range balls out for tomorrow, going to the yellow golf ball. So other than that, any questions?
Curiosity, on your simulator, do you notice an impact in the concessions industry?
Yes, for sure. The people, most of my clients that go in there, a couple 6-packs when they go in.
Really close to the beer.
Yeah. We just run a tab for them, and then when they get done with their whole thing, they just pay the whole bill on their way out. I think some of our offerings with the pizzas and that kind of stuff really well over that.
When you complete your kitchen, it might be real.
Yeah. We're gonna put some menu pop-up little table tents in there, so at least have an idea what the options are while they're in there, but yeah, it's been good.
Speaking of simulators, what happened with the idea of putting that one down over?
We,
Still looking at it?
we had a meeting with Friends University, where at the very beginning. That's why I didn't bring it up, to see about some type of partnership with them to add that. We just talked to the coach. I got a meeting with the athletic director soon. So again, hopefully next meeting I'll have more to you there, but maybe able to get some type of partnership to finance that thing and pay for it.
The partnership with them is really not unheard of because they do use West Side Athletic.
They use,
Right.
they only have a football field. All their other sports are off campus.
Yeah. On the simulator, we found a way, one of our IT guys, he's big into golf simulation, like that's his passion. This crowd had no idea. So he came out to work on something else, started talking about it, showed me how we can download. It's $250 for the year, I guess, or maybe annually. Annually, we have like 800 courses. They keep adding. So I went to download that, and Tex is one of the courses on there. It was awesome. He was like, let me show you. I mean, you can't tell if you're watching a flyover from a drone or if it's animation, but it's you can play it. He emailed me, we did it. They emailed me the code to download it. My idiot, as stupid as I am, I hit download on my computer instead of that one. I realized what I did, stopped. And then I went to the right computer and it said, this has already been used. So I had to call them. They're going to reissue a new tag. Yeah, no, not technical.
Got a lot of very popular courses. They name them a little different because they don't have the
Texas there, huh?
Texas on
Texas on there.
Clubhouse, the carts are staying, the cars in the parking lot.
The old clubhouse. The old clubhouse is on there. It's brown.
Anything else?
As much usage as it's getting, I know it won't be like.
I do tires.
Do you have any warranty on that screen? Because
No warranty on it. You can buy the replacement screen. It's not that much. Yeah.
It's just that one's gonna be a pain in the butt to check.
Since we have no room, I mean, we are into the ceiling, into the wall, so it's hard. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's our knuckles again.
I still have scars from putting that thing up, but
What was the total price on that one?
yeah, right at 30, it's a whole room build. About 25,000 for the unit. All the courses, the unit, the build out, the screen, everything. Yeah. We've already made 7,000 on it in 2 months or whatever. So, yeah.
Years. Less than that.
5 months.
Yeah. That much better in the summer.
Starts the leagues and the
Evenings.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyone using it in the evening?
Thank you, Stevie.
Yeah, we just gotta talk Steven to stay until 10 every night, then we'll use it at the end.
We'll do it. You can't really justify keeping people there when the course is closed just for that, at $30 an hour, but as the days get longer, we'll have tea time. So we'll go up until we close the golf course.
Kevin, that back, you can sit there, get up to the.
I'll sit, what?
I really did forget about you.
You'll slide that over just so it gets taller.
Just a comment for Kevin. I know he was doing a lot of this renovation stuff. And they did run into some significant problems in those restrooms out there. I saw the floor was cut out and several things that they had to replace in there. And they did a really good job of it. Kudos to you on
That
that.
was one of the first ones Jesse played GC. And,
Thank you, Mike.
and he actually took care of a lot of that restroom stuff and got those contractors and
That's when you were out.
they did it was a little bit when I was out, but they did a real good job, or he did a great job. The hardest part with these is coordinating the different 3-4 different vendors coming in on top of each other because they can't be. And that one actually went pretty damn quick, and we had really cold weather, so the porta potties didn't get used all that much. If it had been during a peak time, it might have got a little ugly with some complaints, but it
They
went
had
pretty quick.
significant problems out there for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And
They were like walking into 1953.
Yeah, it was, there were problems when I was there.
And we ran into some plumbing problems as we redid stuff that they're hooking into 70-year-old lines and they're like, we got a problem. We figured. We were counting.
Whoever did it, thank you.
So the next projects, I'm planning to have the 2 projects done by the end of March, hopefully, because there's a lot to do. Like Steve said, the facing on his counters are going in soon. We still haven't got an exact word on the countertops, but I'm waiting to order the rest of his equipment. because I keep shoving equipment at him with nowhere to put it, and just getting his new cooler in, we had to flip it on its side, and Steve texted me, help. But we got it done, and that wall actually looks great now with all that new equipment. It actually looks kind of like a restaurant. So we'll get the rest of the equipment, get it trained, but with the simulator and stuff, it's nice. It'd be nice to have that extra stuff. Steve thinks pizzas are gonna go really well in there, and they're a 4-minute item. Mac is another one of those, the biggest issue is gonna be staging. Because originally we weren't gonna do the floors, and now that the floors are in the clubhouse and the pro shop, it looks like hell back there. So we're gonna have to gut it completely. And to do the floors, Jesse does have a bid that we've accepted or right there. But before then, we have to gut it, and that means getting all the equipment out, getting the company out that owns that ice machine to pull it out. And we're gonna figure out how to run without ice for a little bit because it's gotta wait for everything to go back in. But I have talked to electricians, plumbers, everybody is online, ready to go, including the flooring. And then we'll start ordering more of his equipment in, and that'll be the last one. Auburn got their oven last week. It'll be installed hopefully Friday. And I will be out there next week working with them on their new food items and getting everything set for their orders so they can get all that running. There's some stuff they already have been doing and doing very well with burgers and different things, but he'll have some new items going with his oven it's a different one than I bought for Sim, so I have to figure it out, do the programming for it. So I want it to be mindless that they just put a sandwich in and hit a button. It cooks itself.
I know having that warmer out there with the burgers already in it. Yeah.
Grab and go.
Got that. So easy.
That's what Sim has the same.
Sim's got one coming this week.
Yeah, that's what.
Because he's seen the same thing. And I believe in Jesse's POS talks and stuff, we have talked to CPS about being able to order through an app eventually.
Yeah, through Gallus, not through CPS.
Yeah, okay, through Gallus and take credit cards through the app. So they'll be able to, we're gonna put signs up in like the 9T box or 8, I don't know where you normally put them.
Like 8T box.
Whatever, saying, scan this, order your food, and a ticket will pop up in the kitchen. It'll be ready when you get there and prepaid. So that'll help. I think that'll help sales a lot, that they don't have to wait. You make a turn real quick.
Trying to get this IT stuff done before we implement that, but yeah.
I think the other part of that is they'll be able to take credit cards on the Bev carts.
That's ready to go. Yeah.
That's ready to go. He's getting iPads for the Bev carts. So our goal is the end of March, everything done, but again, it's the timing of the contractors, and Mac is a much tougher fix than the rest of them.
So Max by end of March as well?
I'm hoping, as long as we can coordinate all of them, we'll see. So next, I'm hoping should be done next 3 weeks.
It's almost like we just were waiting on 2 little pieces to get in. Once we start, we have no choice. We gotta go. So we're waiting on that floor. They have to order the floor, which they did. Once it comes in, they have to come. I'm gonna start ripping out the counter tomorrow to have everything ready. When it comes in, I'll move everything out, go. So. Yeah.
We already had the Pepsi fountain pulled out of Mac. In my new plans, I don't have room for it. They take up a lot of space, and in running numbers, was it less than 5 a day?
Yeah, we
average less than 5 fountain drinks a day, so we give away more than we sell. Employees drink them, the maintenance crews are always coming in. We'll figure out a way to take care of them.
But we'll still have cups of ice at a 20 ounce. If somebody wants ice, they.
Or just getting rid of the fountain. Part of, like, if we pull the fountain out at Auburn, we can put couple taps in there and do draft beer, because that would be a great spot for it.
I think there it would go well. I've had a ton of people ask me about it just because they've kind of heard people talk.
And I agree. And as a business standpoint, there's more profit in draft beer than there is in cans and bottles. So
if you put that extra inch of foam on top, that's where.
Yeah, part of the beer. Part of the beer. All calculated in. I got to teach them how to pour correctly. So all the little projects, Sim, again, Kent's trying stuff because he's had his equipment in. So he's been trying, see what goes, and then we'll put together the menu. All the menu boards will be digital. He already has a TV. So we'll just do a graphic. It'll just be a static menu board up there. Then the Gallus app will have per course, whatever they have available that they can just order food ready when you get here.
So have we thought about doing events such as the Super Bowl just up here? Doing something to draw some people to the courses just to sit and watch the game? March Madness is coming up here pretty quick, you know, a lot of basketball going on.
Yeah, Scott already left. One of the goals that I talked to Scott about for him this year is to add more social events, like non-golf events. And that's, yeah, we definitely are. Super Bowl, I can tell you, is one of the hardest things in the world to have at a place like that. Everybody they go to the friend's house or barbecue, and March Madness is really easier, because it's not just all at one time, but we purposely did not do the Super Bowl. Just, I've tried everything in the world for 15 years, never had much luck.
I've run restaurants and bars forever and it's just not a huge day in-house. A lot of to-go stuff, but everybody has a Super Bowl party.
But yeah, we definitely want to do that. March Madness.
March Madness would be a good one. Yeah, stuff like that.
Different games on different TVs, sir.
Yeah, that's a good one. You can play golf and then come in and sit there for
Yeah.
3 or 4 hours and watch basketball afterwards. So that's, March Madness is a great opportunity.
One other thing that I have had several people ask me about, and back in the day, they used to have a deal where you buy 5 beers, you get the 6th one free, kind of a 6-pack price or whatever. Just wondered if we had ever thought about doing anything like that, or.
I've heard you did it for, did you used to do 6-pack price?
Yeah, we had it for several years. It didn't, I mean,
Didn't increase sales in any way.
no, and then we went to buy the can, they still buy 6-pack. So it's like, why did I give them one? I mean, so we still sell 6-packs pretty much all day long, but there's no 6-pack price.
It's what drinks a lot of beer. Good with that.
What do you say?
I said Auburn drinks a lot of beer.
That's where craft beer would appeal to that group that hangs out because you got patio, and we're looking at adding patio furniture this year everywhere, not just at Auburn. We want everybody to have some outside seating. Everybody has nice areas with good views. He has he practically has a football field and cement in front of his clubhouse. Yeah. So we're gonna add some patio furniture everywhere because
We create that social atmosphere.
Absolutely.
People there. That's.
All right. Anything else, Kevin?
No.
If not, I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
Aye.
All right.
push it.
Bye all.
That city's gonna love that patio furniture.
Get chains for
Gonna have, they'll be cracking beers open.
You said that.
Oh, it's ready. So you're saying like. I know, but I mean.
Scott sent in the.
Right.